Okay, so unit 8. Okay, unit 8, that is biology in human welfare. Under this unit, we have got 3 chapters. There is a chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10. Okay, chapter 8, that is human health and diseases. Chapter 9, strategies for enhancement in food production. Chapter 10, that is microbes in human welfare. So all these 3 chapters were dealt under one unit, that is biology in human welfare. Okay, when you observe, okay, the introduction to this unit. Okay, before going to introduction, okay, in every unit we'll have a renowned scientist. Okay, under this unit, okay, the scientist who comes under this strategies for enhancement in food production, and who is responsible for green revolution in India. Okay, who is, okay, he is nothing but M.S. Swaminathan. Okay, Monkombu Sambasivan Swaminathan. Okay, he was born in August 1925 in Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. Okay, this Monkombu Sambasivan Swaminathan did his graduation and post-graduation in botany from Madras University. Okay, he has completed his graduation and post-graduation in botany. That is, okay, the subject related to plants. Okay, from Madras University. Okay, he worked in different capacities in large number of institutions in India and abroad. So he worked in different organizations in India as well as abroad, that means in foreign countries, and developed his expertise in genetics and plant breeding. So, okay, by working in all these organizations in India and abroad, okay, he has developed some new techniques, and he practiced different techniques and developed different techniques, genetics and plant breeding. That means to develop new varieties of plants by using genetics and a plant breeding program. Okay, the School of Cytogenetics and Radiation Research established at the Indian Agriculture Research Institute, IARI. That is Indian Agriculture Research Institute, which is present in Lucknow. Okay, in that the School of Cytogenetics, under this organization, there is an organization called School of Cytogenetics and Radiation Research. Okay, and he was joined that, okay, he joined, okay, this Swaminathan joined that organization, enabled Swaminathan and is a team to develop a short duration, high yielding varieties of rice, including scented basmati. That means, okay, before green revolution, okay, the rice varieties that were grown in India, we are used to grow only one season. We are used to grow only one crop in every season or every year. We used to grow only one crop, and the yield of the crop is also less, and overall turnover is also less. But because of the development of new varieties by plant breeding and genetics by this Swaminathan, M.S. Swaminathan, while he was working under this Indian Agriculture Research Institute, he developed some new varieties in which the duration of the crop is reduced. So short duration, and the yielding is also increased. That means before, the rice plant used to complete its life cycle for about 8 to 10 months. But now it was changed to 3 to 4 months. So because of this, instead of growing only one crop previously in one year, now we are able to grow 2 to 3 crops in a one year. That means 2 to 3 seasons we are able to get in 1 year. So and at the same time, the yield for one crop is also increased. As a result, as we are growing for 3 seasons, so the yield also increased. The yield also increased. So that means because of this short duration, high yielding varieties of rice were developed. And in this also they developed some scented basmati rice. The aroma. The basmati is well known for its aroma. That means most of the people will show or are fond of this basmati rice because of the aroma. While cooking itself, only this aroma will be observed, which will enhances the appetite. So that's scented basmati were also developed. And next, he is also known for the development of concept of crop cafeteria, crop scheduling, and genetically improving the yield and quality. So he has developed some new varieties by which we can increase the yield as well as the quality of the food material. That means more nutritious, more nutrients rich food material, more nutrient rich food material they are able to get. And next, Swaminathan initiated collaboration with Norman Borlaug, who is which culminated in the Green Revolution through introduction of Mexican varieties of wheat in India. This Norman Borlaug was the person who is responsible for Green Revolution in the world. He is the person who first developed the dwarf varieties of rice and wheat. Dwarf varieties of wheat and rice in USA. And later, with the collaboration with this Norman Borlaug, as the crop varieties that are grown in USA cannot be proper, are not able to grow properly in India. So what he has done means he crossed the local variety with that of foreign varieties, foreign dwarf varieties, and he developed some new varieties which can grow effectively in Indian climatic conditions. And at the same time, the yield is also improved. So for that, because of this, it resulted in Green Revolution in India. So, and this effort was made, this by M.S. Swaminathan along with Norman Borlaug. And this was highly recognized and appreciated. And he also initiator of lab to land. That means he has taken some crop field area, land. He has considered that land as a lab, and he developed some new varieties. And he introduced this food security. Food security. Food security means saving the food grains for future. Before, whatever the food grains that are obtained in that year, that is used to that is used for that year at all. No storage, nothing, no preservation, no storage. That's why if the if in that year, if the yield is reduced or if the crop is not obtained properly, then a lot of people starved. So to reduce all this, he introduced the food security and several other environmental programs. Food security, that means the food grains should be stored properly for future foods. Okay, because of these efforts, okay, the Indian government started preserving the food grains at least for 10 years in the, okay, FCI godowns. We can see now Food Corporation of India godowns. Okay, there they used to preserve, okay, for even if the food grains are not available, okay, we can able to live for about 10 years for that. Like that, the food grains are preserved. Okay, the minimal food grains. So the food security, that is what, okay, that is what we can see in the food security and several other environmental programs. He has been honored with the Padma Bhushan and several other prestigious awards, medals, and fellowships by institutions of excellence. Okay, that is. Okay, he also started, okay, that is not mentioned here. He also started this MS Swaminathan Agricultural Research Organization in Chennai. Okay, and okay, in this organization, they are undergoing certain research to develop some new varieties of okay, crops. Okay, there is. Okay, this is, okay, he is the renowned scientist of India who laid foundations for increasing the food production in India, and is the person who is responsible for green revolution in India. And you only introduced the dwarf varieties of wheat and rice to India. Okay, that is. And next, coming to the introduction to this chapter. Okay, biology is the youngest of the formalized disciplines of natural science. Okay, in the science, biology is the youngest. Okay, progress in physics and chemistry proceeded much faster than in biology. Okay, because a large amount of developments were made in physics and chemistry. Okay, but in biology, okay, that is not up to the mark. Because, okay, applications of physics and chemistry in our daily life also have a higher visibility than those of biology. So that why? Because we use a lot of applications of physics and chemistry in our daily life rather than biology. Biology, they will think that it will go on, but however, 12th century, okay, sorry, 20th century and certainly 21st century has demonstrated the utility of biological knowledge in further human welfare, be it in health sector or agriculture. So, but in a 20th century and 21st century, they given priority to biology. They given priority to this biology. And okay, they understood the importance of biology in human welfare. Okay, in case of health sector or agriculture. So the discovery of antibiotic, okay, we have discovered antibiotic and a synthetic plant derived drugs. That means whatever the chemical substance that are obtained from the plants which are used as medicine, those chemicals we started synthesizing artificially. That means primarily that chemical was used was obtained from plants, but later by understanding the chemical composition, we started synthesizing that chemicals artificially. And next, anesthetics have changed medical practice on one hand. So anesthetics, okay, that means before if any surgery has done means no anesthesia. no anesthesia is given. Directly they used to the person the pain completely. No, okay, they didn't use any anesthesia, something like that. But later, with the development in biology, okay, they introduced this anesthetics. So with the usage of this anesthetics, okay, have changed the medical practice on one hand and human health on the other hand. Okay, on the other hand, okay, before a large number of people used to die before they reach the old age because of so many reasons, because of certain medical issues or health issues or whatever it is, or some diseases. Okay, because of all these reasons, a lot of people died before. But later on, with the improvement in biology, the life expectancy of human beings have dramatically changed over the years. The life expectancy, that means the average lifespan of the person or a human has been increased. Okay, because of the different medical practices. Okay, and next, okay, some knowledge related to diseases. Okay, for all, okay, some treatment given to certain diseases. Okay, and surgeries we have made. So because of all these reasons, the life expectancy of the human has been increased enormously. And next, agriculture practices. Okay, we have improved the agricultural practices. Okay, food processing and the diagnostics. That means we are able to detect the diseases very prior it is shown in our body, so that we can take the treatment prior. We have developed vaccinations, we have developed immunizations. Okay, we are able to treat a large number of diseases, okay, when we diagnose the disease very early. So these are all developed, and we have designed different dietary measurements for a different people. Okay, so because of all this, agriculture practices, food processing and diagnostics have brought socio-cultural changes in human communities. And these are briefly described in the following 3 chapters of this unit. So, okay, all these, okay, related to diseases, okay, related to agricultural improvements, okay, related to food processing, how different products are produced at commercial level, how they are used. Okay, all these we'll discuss under these 3 chapters. That is human health and diseases, strategies for enhancement in food production, and the 3rd chapter, that is microbes in human welfare. So first we'll go with the first chapter of this unit, that is human health and diseases. Chapter 8, human health and diseases. Okay, under this chapter we have got 5 components, that is common diseases in humans. What are the common diseases? We'll find different types of diseases: viral diseases, bacterial diseases, protozoan diseases. Okay, and next, helminthic diseases, fungal diseases. Okay, like this we'll find different types of diseases, how they are, what are the organs they are affecting, how they are transmitted from one person to another person. Okay, what are the control measures, what is the treatment for these diseases. Okay, that one we'll discuss under this topic, common diseases in humans. And the next one is immunity. Okay, this immunity, okay, that is the topic that now is in viral. Okay, because everyone is saying that okay, if you want to protect from corona, okay, you have to develop immunity. The immunity has to be maintained. Okay, if the immunity is reduced, the person will be easily affected with corona. Okay, that. concept we'll discuss now. The immunity, how this, what are the types of immunity, how we can develop immunity. Okay, the immunization program, vaccination program, autoimmunity. What are different types of immune cells? Okay, all will discuss under this concept immunity. And the next one is AIDS, because it is related to immunity. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, this AIDS is caused due to the reduction in the immunity of a person. That's why we say AIDS. And the next one is a cancer. Okay, cancer. What are the different reasons for cancer? Okay, what are the different types of cancer? How we can treat cancer? All will discuss. And next, drugs and alcohol abuse. Okay, drugs and alcohol abuse. Okay, what are the different, okay, that is what is meant by drugs, how they affect our body, what are the different types of drugs, how they show their effect on the body. Okay, what is addiction, what is a dependence? Okay, all this will discuss with reference to this, or drugs and alcohol abuse. So first come with the introduction to this chapter. So health for a long time was considered as a state of body and mind where there was a balance of certain humors. Okay, when you observe the health, okay, the health is considered, okay, when a person is said to be healthy means okay, whatever the activities that are taking place in our body, all they are taking place in a balanced condition. Okay, that means a state of body and mind. Okay, not only the physical, okay, psychological, that is mind. Okay, not only physical, okay, referred to body, and psychologically refers to mind. All should be balanced. Okay, of certain humors. That means a lot of features that we observe around our environment. Okay, even that changes are taking place, but our body needs to be maintained in a balanced condition. Okay, then we say that the person is healthy. Okay, this is what early Greeks like Hippocrates as well as Indian Ayurveda system of medicine asserted. Means what this Ayurveda and all this Hippocrates are saying means, okay, health is not related to the physical. Okay, it is also related to the psychological. That is, okay, both the body as well as the mind should be in balance. And it was thought that persons with a black bile belonged to hot personality would have fevers. Okay, black bile disease. Okay, it is a disease which is caused due to the change in the liver. Okay, when the liver is affected or infected, okay, at that time we'll find this black bile disease. Okay, when a person is suffering from black bile, okay, the person may be, okay, will be seen hot, but will suffer. Okay, that means he might be physically fit, but internally he will be suffered with fever. So this idea was arrived at by pure reflective thought. So that means that's why, okay, they said that not only physically, okay, that is not only the body, we have to take into consideration the mind also. Okay, the discovery of blood circulation by William Harvey using experimental method and the demonstration of normal body temperature in persons with a black bile using thermometer disproved the good humor, okay, hypothesis of health. Okay, so that means William Harvey, we know, you know very well, the blood circulation in human was discovered by William Harvey. Okay, and he also said that the body temperature is maintained because of the circulation of the blood in the body. Okay, okay, so when you observe, if a person, okay, if a person who is suffering from black bile, okay, as we discovered the thermometer with the introduction or with the discovery of a thermometer, which is used to calculate the temperature of the body or measure the temperature of our body, okay, which shown that the person who is suffering from black bile, the temperature of the body is increasing. So he's suffering from he's suffering from fever. So that means he's showing physically fit, but when it comes to the temperature, okay, the temperature is saying that he's not good, okay, in a good humor. Okay, and in later years biology stated that mind through neural system and endocrine system, our immune system, and that our immune system maintains our health. So that is okay, so from okay, and later the studies on biology has revealed that okay, the mind, okay, the mind, not only the body, mind is also playing an important role in keeping the good health, because the mind influences through neural system, because when the mind is disturbed, it will show some effect on the nervous system, thereby this nervous system will act on endocrine system, and thereby it acts on the immune system and it disturbs the health. So all should be in a proper organized manner. So if the mind is good, then neural system will function effectively, endocrine system will work properly, and the immune system will maintain and okay, will be maintained, and this will keep our body healthy. Okay, hence mind and the mental state can affect our health. So not only the physical, okay, the mental state is also very, very important. Okay, the mind and the mental state can affect our health. Of course health is affected by, okay, not only that, okay, not okay only the mental state, okay, the person also has to be physically fit, the body has to be functional, okay, and along with that this mind, okay, this mind and mental state also should be in a proper manner. So that's why he's saying that okay, not only this mind and mental health, but also we have to show that okay, the health is also affected by genetic disorders. Okay, some genetical disorders, deficiency with which a child is born, and deficiencies are defects which the child inherits from parents from birth. Okay, genetic disorders, okay, genetic disorders, okay, it which deficiencies with which a child is born, okay, deficiencies with which a child is born, and deficiencies are defects which the child inherits from parents from birth. Okay, that means okay, if the parents are having any genetical disorders, okay, those genetical disorders may be transmitted to the children, or during gamete formation some mutation, and during that mutation, okay, this might be affecting, okay, those okay, those mutations, the genes are okay, and those genes get transferred, and that may cause certain genetical disorders. Okay, it might be observed from the birth, or sometimes the gene may get expressed in the later period of their growth. Okay, whatever it is, some disorders we can observe. And next, infections. Okay, that means in their lifetime they will come across with the different types of disease causing organisms, and these disease causing organisms will enter into our body, or some other organisms may enter into our body and damages certain organs and leading to certain diseases. And next, lifestyle including food and water we take. Okay, lifestyle including food and water we take, rest and exercise we give to our bodies. Okay, lifestyle including food and water we take. Okay, that means that is where we say hygiene and cleanliness. What type of food we are taking, what type of water we are taking, rest and exercise we give to our bodies. Okay, what is the resting period, and what is the exercise that we are giving, any exercise we are giving to our bodies, habits that we have or lack, etc. Okay, and the habits, whatever the habits that we are having, all these are all comprising to the health condition of the person. Okay, and next, so the term health is very frequently used by everybody. Okay, whenever you come across with any person, simply ask, how is your health? Like that we'll say. So health, we frequently use this word. How do we define it? Okay, health does not simply mean absence of disease or physical fitness. Okay, health does not mean that okay, absence of disease. That means if he is not suffering from any disease, we don't say that he is healthy. Okay, our physical fitness. Our physical fitness. Okay, it could be defined as a state of mental and social well-being. Okay, it could be defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Okay, so physically should be fit, mentally should be fit, and social well-being. So that means the behavior with the other people around him, that one also will decide the health. When people are healthy, they are more efficient at work. When people are healthy, they are more efficient at work. This increases productivity and brings economic prosperity. Okay, that means when the people are healthy, then okay, they can work efficiently. As a result, the productivity is increased and the economic prosperity of him and the organization in which he is working. And next, the India, okay, and the prosperity of that country is also improved if the people are healthy. And next, health also increases the longevity of people. That means the life of the people is also increased and reduces infant and maternal mortality. Okay, and reduces infant and maternal mortality. Okay, and next, how we can able to keep healthy? Okay, the first and foremost is a balanced diet. Okay, we have to take a balanced diet. Okay, we have to take a balanced diet. Okay, and we have to maintain personal hygiene. One look after its own hygiene, and regular exercise are very important to maintain good health. Are very important to maintain good health. Yoga has been practiced since time immemorial to achieve physical and mental health. Okay, yoga has been practiced since time immemorial to achieve physical and mental health. Okay, awareness about diseases and their effect on different bodily functions. So everyone should aware of the diseases seasonally and okay, in the area where it is where they are present. Okay, the diseases that awareness should be there, and the functions of different parts of our body. Okay, then only we can understand body is functioning properly or not. And we have to undergo proper vaccination, that is immunization, and against infectious diseases, and next a proper disposal of waste, control of vectors, and maintenance of hygiene in food and water resources are necessary